Afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Sister Talks. Today we are talking about the power of a growth mindset. You're tuned into Ramadan Radio Wolves 87.9 FM. So I'll just introduce myself. I am Dionne, and this is...
I am Kanika.
Brilliant. Okay, so as always, we always want it to be as interactive as possible, and for that reason, I'm going to give you the telephone studio number, which is 01902 972 150, and the WhatsApp text is 07440 420 432. We encourage you to just phone in, text in, because we want it to be as interactive as possible, and we say this every week, so we do encourage you to do that. So we're talking about the power of a growth mindset today, and this is really an important topic, really, because the power of a growth mindset is all about having your mind in the right space to be able to really drive through your future. Now, just to give you kind of a recap in terms of the things that we have been talking about over the last 4 weeks, well, the last 3 previous weeks are, we've told you a lot about Sister to Sister, and that's our organisation, a non-profit company, which we'll tell you a little bit more about in the second half of the programme. And then we've also talked about the power of mentoring. Mentoring is part of the work that we do, and how mentoring can be used in all capacities of your life. That's right, isn't it?
Definitely.
And then we've also talked about, last week, we talked about goal setting, and how it's really important to be able to have that structure to things that you want in life in order to be able to achieve them, really. So we talked about the power of goal setting, and today we're talking about mindset. So it all kinds of works in. It links in, doesn't it, Kanika? Yeah. So what does mindset actually mean? It's actually, mindset is the way that our brain perceives ourselves, the world in general. It's all about how we hold our thoughts, our beliefs. Our mindset helps us look at problems, challenges, issues in a positive way. So, when we're going through things, we always want to try and say to each other, get yourself in the right mindset. Yeah. Is that something that you probably would say to somebody? Get yourself in the right mindset so that you can actually really focus and really look at things head on in the most positive way. Our mindset, it's a really, really... really strong tool that we have, because our mindset can help us. It can help us achieve, but it can also prevent us from achieving as well. Because if you can't get yourself in the right mindset that you want to be, equally, you could be in a negative place and have negative mindset, and then again, that's not helping us channel the way that we want to make things move. So it's really important to have the right mindset towards everything that you want to do in life. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I think just to help people understand what that actually is, are you able to give us an example of how you've had to use a growth mindset in your life?
Oh, God, you put me on the spot here now, Kanika. You're putting me on the spot here now. Let me just try and think. Okay, so let me give you an example. I think I've told you guys that by profession, I'm a lawyer. And I think, by very nature of getting into law, you really do have to have a really strong mindset.
I can imagine.
Tell me about it. So, I commenced my training contract back in 2007. And I qualified in 2009. So prior to commencing my training contract, I finished my legal practice course in 2003. So we're talking 4 or 5 years before I actually even got a training contract. Now, that isn't for the want of trying. I brought all, the expensive paper and the nice envelopes and everything. And I sent out applications and CVs and covering letters and everything, trying to get training contracts. And I received rejection letter after rejection letter. And I know if there's anybody out there that is studying for law, or is a lawyer now, I'm sure that they'll understand where I'm coming from with that. And I'm not saying that my fixed mindset didn't appear, because on occasion I did feel like, forget this, I don't want to do it, I can't do it. And looking at other people and thinking, why have they got their training contract and I haven't got mine?
Yeah.
You know, what is it about me why I can't get a training contract? So the fixed mindset did come to visit me, but I didn't let it dwell. So I really pushed on, and that's where the growth mindset comes in. So what I did is I sought feedback on my applications. I looked for other things as well, like to try and bolster my CV, like different types of work experiences.
Okay.
Yeah, just to try and, you know, kind of set yourself apart from others. So I tried those kind of things as well. And, you know, I tried to get other work experience that was very similar, or, you know, and I just really ploughed in, and I just didn't let it kind of like hold me back. So I think that is where the growth mindset comes in, because growth mindset is all about changing negative situations into positive situations, and actually thinking that, okay, I haven't got a training contract yet, because that makes you know that you will get one.
Of course.
I will get one. And that's what I've thought all the time. So I think my persistence, dedication, willingness to grow, that was what finally secured my training contract. And they're all characteristics of a person with a growth mindset. And I've never looked back. So that is actually the power of a growth mindset.
Excellent. And I'm sure a lot of budding lawyers would be really interested in hearing that story, Dionne, because I know that it is very, I mean, I saw your journey.
Yeah.
I know it's a tough journey,
It's
isn't
challenging,
it?
extremely challenging. And if there is anybody out there who wants to share any experiences that they've had whereby, you know, they've struggled with something, or they've had rejections with things, and, you know, they've actually felt like they're in a place whereby they don't feel like they can come out of it, or they don't feel like they can continue, get in touch. We want to hear it. We want to share it. We want to talk with it for you. If you're actually going through it now, then get in touch, because Kanika and I would love to give you some, you know, advice and encouragement. So I'll just give you the telephone number again. That's 01902 972 150. And the WhatsApp, if you don't want to talk and you want to text him, that's 0744 042 0432. So, have you ever looked up growth mindset on the internet?
I have actually, yeah, I have.
You know, because what you'll find on there is there's lots and lots of different like quizzes and things.
Yes, there is.
Have you ever done any
to
of the
challenge
quizzes?
whether I haven't actually, but I have seen them to challenge whether or not you've got a growth mindset or a fixed mindset.
Yeah.
I know Dionne touched on fixed mindset, but we'll explain that as well, because I know we haven't really explained what that is just yet.
Yeah. I did some of the quizzes on the internet. There's loads of them out there, and it's good to try them, because you can actually be quite surprised about the results that you get. So essentially what you probably have is like lots of different statements, and don't cheat yourself, you know, really apply yourself to it. You'll have lots of different statements that will just be general kind of statements, and then you'll then get like a scoring system, so where you can score yourself between maybe 0 to 3 or what have you, and at the end of it you'll then have the results whereby it will tell you whether you've got a strong mindset, or a mindset that is, a strong growth mindset, or a mindset that is kind of mixed with some strong, some fixed, or even it might say that you're kind of like, you've got a fixed mindset with some elements of growth in it, but it tells you exactly where you're at, and it's worth knowing, because it can help you then really like think about how you might be able to change certain things about yourself and about your mindset as well.
That's amazing.
It is. It's good. It is worth it. So fixed mindset.
Yeah.
What would you say fixed mindset is then, Kanika?
Okay, so a fixed mindset would be, put me on the spot here, but you know, I'll give you the version I know. Yeah. So it's when you have your set of beliefs and thoughts, qualities and traits that you don't think can be changed. So it's what it says, really, very, very fixed, very rigid in your thinking.
Do you know people that are kind of like that?
I do actually, and I can see how it doesn't serve them as well. But yeah, so that's what a fixed mindset is. It's when an individual with a fixed mindset, there'll be the perception that they're born with a talent, or not born with a talent. They can't change it. They can't change the way they are. And the feel as this is just them for life now, and then they're not willing to do anything to take them out of that space.
Yeah, like they're very, this is me, I'm either good at it or I'm not good at it, and you know, I'm born with the talent or what have you. They don't kind of like really see like failures or of learning experiences.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we all know a few people like that, and no matter, and I suppose you get to know whether they've got a fixed mindset when, you know, you can give them encouragement, give them advice, and they're not willing to try anything
And
different.
how they receive that advice.
Exactly, yes, yeah.
Because I'm telling you, when you give advice to a person with a fixed mindset, you can really tell that they're of that kind of nature, because they don't receive it very well. They won't receive it very well at all. Let's just give you some examples of characteristics of people with fixed mindsets, and just kind of think about whether you can kind of identify them within yourself, be honest, or even people around you. Let me just tell you something now before we continue. It's natural to have a fixed mindset. You can have a fixed mindset and a growth mindset, and they come and visit you at different times. As I said to you before, I had the fixed mindset throughout my journey, and I've had fixed mindset in a lot of different situations, but it's all about how long you let that fixed mindset dwell and maintain within you. It's okay. It's what's important is to be able to identify the triggers of what's triggering your fixed mindset. And once you've identified that, then it's all about trying to move your growth mindset in. So someone with a fixed mindset, you might hear them say, you know, that they don't give up that they do give up easily. They will avoid challenges. As Kanika said, you know, they kind of like to stay within their comfort zone. Reason being is because that's where they're comfortable, and they have a fear of failing or not being as successful as they would wish to be. So that's what a person with a fixed mindset is. You've heard Kanika say they like to kind of stick at something that they're good at. You know, I'll give you an example. Very recently, with Sister to Sister, we had to do, you know, live videos and feeds on our Instagram. Now, I know that we're on the radio station, and you're probably thinking we're very comfortable with that. But I think Chantel and I told you on the if you've been following us over the last few weeks, Chantel and I would have told you on our very first time that we came on the radio that it was outside of our comfort zone. And it's something that we've, whilst we've been guests on many radio stations, we've never actually had our own program, our own show. So that was us stepping out of our comfort zone. So live video feeds as well on Instagram. That again is something that, you know, we really have to psych ourselves up to do. So, I mean, one time when we had to do this, I had like a voice in my head saying, oh, you know, Dionne, if you do this Instagram feed, you know, people are going to look at you, they're going to be judging you, your content, what you're saying, how you're going to look. Yeah, that was the voice in my head, Kanika. And I just felt like I couldn't just do the video. But what I did was one day, well, you know, don't you? One day I just stepped out my comfort zone, and I said, you know what? Let me just try it. Now, that was the growth mindset kicking in. Let's just try it. You don't know if you're going to like it or not. Actually, you might do it and you might be fantastic at it. And I just went in there and did it. Now, by doing that, we had thousands of views on that video, didn't we? It was like one of our most watched feeds as well. So it just shows, doesn't it, about stepping outside of your comfort zone and trying new things. You know, how important do you think it is, Kanika, to really step outside of your comfort zone?
Oh, amazingly. I think sometimes you can have self-limiting beliefs that make it very difficult for you to believe that you can do something that you're not used to doing. And then if you never challenge yourself, you're always confirming to yourself it's not possible. So that's where the negative beliefs come in.
Yeah.
So I think that's really important. I think you're a testament to that, aren't you, really? You know, that wasn't something that you like to do. That wasn't your forte. And then now it's something that you probably feel a lot more comfortable doing.
Yeah, even this show, I'm getting a lot more comfortable.
Cheers.
A lot more comfortable. And we've talked about the fact that if you stay within your comfort zone, if you know, you need to try and do things that make you uncomfortable, because if you stay doing comfortable things, then you'll never expand. So the more things that you do, the wider your comfort zone will be. That will expand because you're doing things, you're getting better, you're getting more comfortable with it. So we always encourage our girls, don't we, to step outside of their comfort zone and, you know, try new things, because it's really important to do it.
That's right.
Ever had a friend, Kanika, that you know, that you can't challenge or you can't give any feedback to or anything like that?
Yeah, I have in the past. Don't really have many of those friends anymore. But I have in the past, and again, that will be a lot to do with their fixed mindset. And you know, they might see you know, when you're trying to push someone out of their comfort zone, they might see it as criticism. You know, like you're saying that, you know, what you're doing at the moment isn't good enough. So they see that as criticism rather than seeing it as you want to support them in their growth. So I think, yeah, have you?
Yeah, definitely. As you said, not really much anymore, because we do talk about trying to associate yourselves with people that are very, very like-minded, and people that can help you grow, people that can encourage you. But I just don't understand why people would want to be around, you know, have friends that they can't challenge or can't receive challenge, that, you know, people that were going to be like, yes, you know, you're really good at this, you know, always like bigging you up all the time, when actually you really kind of need a dressing down, or you need like some kind of constructive criticism. Like, I just don't understand it for the life of me. I don't understand why people wouldn't want to be around people that make them grow, or why people would make it difficult for people to help them grow.
Exactly, yeah.
Strange.
Completely agree with that.
It's strange.
And I think that really feeds into what I just wanted to talk a little bit about as well, which is cognitive distortions. So have you heard of that, Dionne, cognitive distortions?
No.
I think when I explain to everybody what it is, you'll say, okay, it just probably hasn't got a label on it.
Yeah.
That's all it is. So cognitive distortions, really what that is, it's when what it says really, it's when our mind is distorted in the way we view things.
Okay.
So it's, in a way, it's our mind convinces us that something is true. And we take this belief on, and then we use it to keep helping us. Well, say helping. We take this belief on about ourselves, and it keeps making us fail.
Okay.
Because our mind is distorted as to how we see ourselves. To make it more easier to understand, I suppose another way to think of it is unhelpful thinking patterns.
That's probably easier.
Cognitive. I think cognitive distortion is a
big words.
Unhelpful thinking patterns, people. That's probably more of an everyday language to use. And what that does as well, it contributes to negative emotions that we might have. So examples of these are, for instance, like all or nothing thinking. And I know a few people like this. I don't know whether you do.
So is that kind of like they either do it all or nothing at all, or they want it all, or
exactly,
or they just, you know.
That's right. But how this feeds into like self-limiting beliefs is, for instance, you know, if you say you're going to run, I don't know, 10 miles, and then you only run 3, and then you get stitched, you say, I'm not going to have a rest and carry on. That's it. It's abandoned. It's people who abandon it part way through, or even less than that, because they feel as though if I can't do everything that I set out to do straight away, or even the gym, this example is usually used in the gym as well. You know, I'm going to go there, I'm going to lift this much weights, and, you know, if they go there and they find they can't do it, they say, well, I'm not going back. So it's an all or nothing type.
Is that
type
like
way of thinking?
Me with chocolate? Like, you know, I'm not going to eat the chocolate. I'm not going to eat the chocolate, and then I have a little bit, and then I think, oh God, I've spoiled my diet now, so I'm going to eat the whole chocolate.
Exactly. Yes, that's another one as well. So it goes both ways. So people can either say they're not going to do the activity that would have helped them grow, because it's not gone as they would have liked, or they can say, well, like you said, you know, I've had a bite of chocolate now, and you know, the diet's off. I'm eating all of it. But we'll start again tomorrow, and that's unhelpful. That just keeps continuing. Exactly. So that's an unhelpful belief that unhelpful thinking pattern that they have. I'll give you another couple of examples. Another example would be a mental filter, where people pick out negative things and they focus on it. So at the exclusion of anything else. So no matter what you tell them about the situation that might be positive, they don't see it.
Okay.
It's just all very, very negative.
Give an example of that, Kanika.
Okay, so an example might be that you might receive like many positive comments about like a presentation that you've done for work, or, you know, in your professional life, and then somebody says something that's just even mildly critical, as in, you know, we couldn't really hear you. Could you be a bit louder next time? You know, that's not really even that big of a criticism,
no,
is it really?
not
That you could take that on and grow from it. But some people might obsess about that reaction. And they might just say, well, okay, that's it. No more presentations for you guys. I'm not doing it anymore. Because they've focused in on just that one
little negative or constructive kind of feedback.
Exactly. Yeah. And you know, a lot of people do that. The other one would be mind reading and fortune telling. They're quite common as well. So mind readings, when you make a decision about something and you give it a negative slant without checking out whether it's true or not. So it's almost like, for instance, if, again, we'll use the gym analogy again. Yeah. If somebody says, okay, you're going to go to the gym and I want you to, you know, run a certain distance on there. And before you even go, you decide, okay, I'm going to go there and I'm not going to be able to get on a machine.
So before you even got there, you've just convinced yourself.
Yeah, so that's like that's more like fortune telling, actually, like you're predicting something, and mind reading is more about what you're thinking somebody else will think about you.
It gets into some real dangerous territory, doesn't it? Really, if you can get those things to really like take over your mindset. Mindset's a powerful thing, people. This is what we're telling you. So that is some really, really, really good stuff. That is, Kanika.
Yeah.
Really good stuff, and it really does like link into the fixed mindset, taking it like from one extreme to the other. Anything else?
I'll give you another example. Should statements. So with this one, you tell yourself that something should be the way you hoped or expected. So for instance, after playing like a difficult piece on the piano, somebody who's particularly gifted or not might say to themselves, I shouldn't have made so many mistakes. I shouldn't have done that. I think if you listen in, when people are talking, you can see when people have these should statements, this negative thinking pattern, because you'll hear should a lot, So they might say, I should be better at this. And that will stop them growing. That will stop them having this growth mindset, because they'll think, well, I should do better. So because I'm not, I won't do it at all.
And I wonder how we can kind of get people like out of thinking like that.
Those states. I suppose it's practice, isn't it, really? It's about, well, I'd say number one would be about recognising that we do these things, recognising that, and seeing how it impacts our life, So if you can recognise, with most things, isn't it, it's recognising. If you can recognise that you have, so you use a lot of these should statements, you need to acknowledge that and say, well, okay, how is that limiting my life? What would my life look like if I took away that should all the time? And
like just setting such high expectations for yourself.
Yeah.
It's got to be damaging,
Crippling.
We've got a question. Someone's texted in, and I'll encourage you to keep on texting in, listeners. And that the question that we were being asked is, what's wrong with an all or nothing mentality?
What's wrong with an all or nothing mentality? Okay, so what can be wrong with an all or nothing mentality is if it makes you give up. There's nothing wrong with saying, I want to be the best. But if you, how do you get to be the best without practice?
Yeah.
Because
from without failing.
And without failing, exactly. So that's what can be wrong with an all or nothing mentality. If it's limiting what you can do, if it's limiting your ability to want to try, then you'll see that it does actually have a negative impact on your life.
No, thanks for that. And that's a good question.
It's a good question.
Yeah,
Thank
very
you.
good question. Thanks for sending that one in. Because, you're right. You might think, well, why shouldn't I give it all? Or
you should always give it all. But what if you give it all and then, if you, fall short just slightly that day, what happens then if you don't do it again? Yeah. And that's what I mean by all or nothing.
Thanks for that, Kanika. That's really insightful.
Thank you. Thanks for the question.
Yeah. There is a really really prominent researcher who's all about mindset, and that's a Dr. Carol Dweck. Now, she's a leading author on mindset. She studies human motivation, and she summarises the character of a person with a fixed mindset absolutely perfectly. They'll say a success is about being more gifted than others, that failure does measure you, and that effort is for those who can't make it on talent. Imagine that. So that's the characteristics of a fixed mindset person. Before we go for start to go for the breaks, and now that will be coming soon, I'll just tell you about what I do in relation to my fixed mindset. And I don't know if Kanika has time, then she can share anything that she might do. But with my fixed mindset, I give my fixed mindset a name. So I'm not going to tell you what the name is, because I really don't want to offend anyone if they don't like it, because it's a name. if it's someone else's name,
or if it's their name.
That's what I mean. Yeah, because it's a name that I don't actually like. So I don't want to say it. I'm going to keep it to myself, but just go with the analogy. So anyway, I give my fixed mindset a name, and whenever that my fixed mindset comes in to visit me, I'll be like, get away, X the name. Yeah. I'm not going to let you come in to dominate my thoughts. So I'll just be like, get away. So I'll actually give it a persona. Yeah. Do you see what I mean? And I think that really, really helps, because I can just like move up like another person.
Yeah.
And some people do have like different
Amazing.
personas for different things, don't they?
Yeah.
I mean, you have like Beyonce, who's got her different
Yeah, of
personas.
course.
Sasha Fierce when she's
Yes.
on the stage, and then so you know you do have like different. You can give it a different persona. So if you fixed mindset comes to visit you, just try giving it a name so that you can actually talk to it and tell it to just
That's right.
move on. Because actually, what you're going to do is you're going to change it around and get into a growth mindset state, and I think that's really, really helpful. I don't know if you've got any other techniques that you could use.
Yeah, I would say as well, what I do a lot is I challenge my beliefs a lot. If I feel as though something's limiting me, I will look at it and I'll say, well, okay, what's the pros and what's the cons, and what's the most rational attitude to have here. And I feel as though that helps me. So, for instance, if I'm thinking, I'm worried about doing something, I think, well, okay, what's the worst that can happen? And if that's okay, then I'll go for it.
Okay. So I hope that's been really, really helpful. We are coming up to the break now, but I do want you to stay with us. And for those of you that are just tuning in to Ramadan Radio Wolves, we're just moving into our break, but stay with Sister to Sister Talks. We're talking about the power of a growth mindset. So please stay with us. Again, if you need to text in, it's 07440 420 432. And our telephone studio number is 01902 972 150. We do want to speak to you guys. All right. See you on the other side. Thank you.
See you soon.
Welcome back to Sister Talks. Today we're talking about the power of a growth mindset. You're listening to Ramadan Radio Wolves 87.9 FM. The telephone studio number, just to remind you, is 01902 972 150. And for those of you that don't want to speak but want to text in, happy to have questions texted in. It's 07440 40. No, let me start again. 07440 420 432. So that's 07440 420 432. So before the break, we talked a lot about having a fixed mindset and how that can really cripple your mindset, but also understanding that there will be occasions whereby we do have fixed mindset characteristics come to visit us, but it's all about how we actually how we manage that, how we try and understand those triggers, but then how we can actually flip it around so that growth mindset characteristics then come in.
That's right.
So about a growth mindset then. So a growth mindset is, well, think about it. Think to yourself, what does it actually mean to grow? So I know that will be different to different people, but generally, whether we're talking about humans, plants, animals, whatever it is, our brains, they all go through similar processes. And that process is developing, changing, maturing, evolving. So that is technically growing, isn't it, really?
That's right. And just think to yourself, every time you do something that's new for yourself or outside of your comfort zone, you know, your brain's making stronger connections, you know, and over time you're getting smarter.
That's right.
Okay, so we've got some examples, haven't we, of people of some quotes that people might say when they've got a bit of a more of a growth mindset. So we've given examples of fixed mindset. So talk a little bit about a growth mindset.
Yeah. Well, if I've got a growth mindset, things that I might say to myself might be challenges help me to grow. That might be something. That might be one thing. And I like to try new things. That's evidence of someone that's got a growth mindset as well.
Yeah, exactly. Another one might be failure is an opportunity to grow. You know, so, you know, thinking about what comes to mind for me, thinking about like a job interview and you don't get the job, you know, you might see it as... you know, if you had the all or nothing mindset, you know, you might see it as, you know, I'm not going to go for any more jobs. That's me done. This is it for me. But if you've got a growth mindset, you might see it as, okay, I'm going to take the feedback. I'm going to, you know, see how I can develop myself and go back again. And potentially get the job. Yeah,
because every experience every experience that you have is a learning opportunity.
That's right.
And I think that's really, really important to be able to view it like that. I mean, nowadays you have lots of jobs whereby you've got to do presentations and things like that. And people don't want to, you know, they're scared or they're shy away from presentations, but why not try it?
That's right.
Why not try it? Because actually, once you've mastered or even tried that, it puts you in a more comfortable position for trying other things. So yeah, I like that. Everything is a learning.
I think we've got a caller. Hello.
Hi, I'm enjoying listening to your show. My name is Amar. I'm one of your colleague presenters. I'm presenting another program in the show in Radio Wolverhampton Wolves.
Hi.
So it's been a pleasure to listen to you. Just before the ad break, I think you said something I liked quite much. You said you will look at the worst case scenario, and if that is okay, then you will go for it. And I think I totally agree with that. I think life is short, sisters. Like sometimes even if the worst case scenario is a little bit less worse than what I expect, I still go for it for just like adventure, doing something that I like. So would you go for something that's when the worst case scenario is a little bit worse than what you expect?
So I'd say really it's about trying to manage it, isn't it really? How would you then manage that? So if the worst case scenario is worse than you would expect, how would you even manage that? And if you've got a strategy to even manage that, that shouldn't be a reason to put you off doing it. You know, because I think if does that make sense?
It does make sense, but the worst case scenario is not always the case. There are so many. It's a wide spectrum of scenarios.
That's right. Yeah.
And that will be one of the possibilities. But it depends on how you do what you want to do, and if you want to do something that you like or you're keen on, if it's the worst case scenario, you will always not know 100% what is going to happen.
Well, this
That's
is
right.
it.
But
And
it might turn out to be a good thing or a bad thing, but you don't know. It depends on how you do it.
exactly. And I think that's the key, isn't it? Because and that's where the storytelling comes into it, because you could actually be telling yourself that this might be the outcome, but as you say, you know, it might not even be as bad as you've actually been building yourself up to think it might be. So that's why it's always
Most of
good
the
to
times,
try. Yeah,
That's right. That's right.
I like unpredictable things. So most of the times, it turns out if you played well, it turns out to be much better than
better
what
than
you
you thought.
expect.
Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can tell you've definitely got a growth mindset.
Thank you very much. I thought you had the same. That's why I thought I might ask. But I'm not asking people to take like adventures. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, don't be afraid. Just go for your
That's
ambitions
right.
and
That's
don't be
right.
afraid of the consequences.
That's
That's right.
right.
Just go
Love
for it.
that.
Yeah.
Love that.
Exactly.
Love that.
That's
Brilliant.
amazing.
Thank you.
Uh, I don't want to take a lot of your time. Thank you very much, and
No.
I'm
No.
enjoying the show.
Oh,
Yeah.
brilliant.
Thank
And thank
you.
you for calling
Take
in and
care.
supporting
You
the
too.
show.
Bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye. Bye.
Bye bye.
Welcome. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Brilliant. Did you hear that? It's all about just trying it, because you don't know what might be on the other side. So thank you very much, caller, for calling in and sharing that with the rest of the listeners.
Yeah, it was amazing.
So you've heard that, but there's actually celebrities out there that are also giving us some good advice in terms of the things that we can do, and to maintain a growth mindset. So we'll probably just give you just a couple of celebrities that you might know that have given us advice. There's one celebrity, and who says, a very famous person, and they say, "I never lose. Either I win or I learn." Now, this person has become an icon for determination, for sticking by his principles. Even when he faced so many challenges and years in prison, he never gave up. Who do you think that might be then, Kanika?
Oh, I don't know.
Nelson Mandela.
Oh, wow. Amazing.
Nelson Mandela, he says he never loses. He either wins or he learns. So I think that's really, really powerful. And it just shows, doesn't it, that, it's never going to be, the process is never going to be easy. But, with persistence and determination,
Yeah.
you get there.
Exactly. I've got somebody as well. So it's a famous basketball player.
Okay.
And he said he's a master of learning from every mistake. So his growth-orientated attitude to failure was immortalised in the legendary. What he said was, "I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career." And he said, what this is about, it's about becoming a master at failing. So who do you think that might have been, Dionne?
Master at failing.
He
Basketball player.
missed 9,000 shots in his career.
Michael Jordan?
Yes, you got it right. Yes. So he obviously has a growth mindset as well.
Definitely.
That didn't put him off. That could have made a lot of people decide, well, actually, this isn't for me, or decide I'm not very good at basketball, but he carried on.
Another person with a growth mindset, and she says, "I'm never going to put boundaries on myself ever again. I'm never going to say I can't do it. I'm never going to say maybe. I'm never going to say I don't think I can. I can and I will." That's strong. That's powerful.
That is very powerful.
Now, she's a Bake Off star,
Okay.
someone who was really shy. She didn't go to university or college. She had several jobs. She went into Bake Off at her husband's suggestion. She fought against anxiety and publicly overcame it. Who do you think that might be?
Oh, gosh.
Bake Off star.
Oh, I will struggle because I've never watched Bake Off. I
Really?
have to admit that. On
Nadia.
Yes,
Oh,
it is. It's Nadia. That's right. Nadia Hussein. And, I think that just shows, doesn't it? Like, she said she's never going to put boundaries on herself. She's always going to try. And that kind of links in with what the caller was saying as well, about not knowing what's on the other side, but still trying it.
That's right.
She says she's never going to say that she can't do something. And it's funny because I try and instill, I've told you guys before that I try and instill that into my 6-year-old and my 4-year-old, that we say that I say, I don't want to hear that you can't do it. You can. We can do anything in this house. We can do it. So it's always best to try and instill those kind of those thoughts, that kind of mindset from as early as on. And you know, she went into that bake off, and remember, she didn't go to university, college. She's got several different types of jobs, and she didn't even go in there off her own back. She went in there off her husband's suggestion, and you know, she fought over the anxieties of it publicly, but look at her now. She says she can and she will. So I think that's really, really, really commendable, isn't it? So yeah, so those are some examples of like celebrities. I don't know if you want to give any more, Kanika. Or...
Yeah, I can give another one. Okay, so this person, it's a lady. She said that failure is so important. You know, we speak about success all the time, but it's actually the ability to resist or use failure that often leads to greater success.
Right.
So this person is someone that we all know or might know. She's an author. She used to be a single parent, and she allegedly started writing in a cafe as she couldn't afford her heating at home. She's wrote some really famous books, went into series of films. Any guess as to who that might be?
See, I know this one. I don't know if anybody wants to try and text in very, very quickly before I reveal it.
Yeah, so it's an author, a lady.
Yeah.
She used to write in a cafe. She was a single parent, couldn't afford the heating at home. She wrote a series. She started off writing novels, and then it went into films.
Okay, so
It's not Caitlin Moran, is it?
No.
Just trying to think. I'm gonna just give just a few seconds just to see if anyone can come up with it, because I really do know this, and I just want somebody else to try and get it.
Yeah, she's a very successful author.
Very successful author.
Yeah.
So let's just repeat it again. She said, what did she say?
So she said failure is so important. And we speak about success all of the time, but it's the ability to resist or to use failure that often leads to greater success.
Okay, so I've got a text come through.
Okay.
Right, so the answer is right. It is J.K. Rowling.
Yes, well done. Well done, Paula.
Well done, Texer, for that one. Well done.
Amazing.
It is, yeah. So that it just shows, doesn't it, that the people that we even like look up to, that they've had their own paths to travel, whereby they've had like a very fixed mindset, and they've had to recondition themselves so that they can really use their growth mindset to get them out of certain spaces and places and feelings and thoughts and emotions. So it's really important. So at Sister to Sister, we're all about helping parents. So let's just, for a couple of minutes, Kanika, I think would be a good idea, just to help some of the parents out there that might be listening, about how they can help their children be able to basically embrace mistakes and failures. It's so common, I think, for children to really get hung up over mistakes, and not being able to achieve things, or not making whatever sports team, or doing something wrong, can't write or spell something, or it's just something like that. And any hints, tips, or anything like that we can have to try and get parents to try and like embrace their mistakes.
Yeah, so I'd say try and explain to your child that mistakes and failures, they actually make the brain grow. So that's a positive slant you can put on it.
Definitely.
In fact, the brain does not grow just from getting correct answers. If you keep getting something correct all the time, so I suppose it's like running. I keep going back to running in the gym. It's like, I think it's because I took my kids to the gym. Okay, so it's like running and never getting past a certain point, and then feeling like you're the best at running this distance. But if you never push yourself that bit further, you won't grow. And it's the same with the brain, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's funny, because someone actually says to me, Dionne, you say that you run like 5K. Have you ever tried running more than 5K? Because I bet you've got it in you. And I'm like, actually, I haven't actually. I'm just working on my 5K. Well, why don't I push myself just that little bit?
So that's a good example, isn't it? And in the brain is exactly the same. If you stretch the brain, that's how the brain grows. So you have to keep strengthening these neural pathways, So we must continue to challenge ourselves and get to the next level of difficulty. And that's a good way to explain it to children as well.
Definitely. And even when they make mistakes, applaud them, clap them. Don't make them feel a bad. Don't let them feel bad about themselves when they have made a mistake. And
That's right.
and also, again, you teach them that it's okay to make mistakes, because mistakes are what grow us. And
right.
just don't be hard on yourself. Definitely don't be hard on yourself. Show your children that you're not hard on yourself as well when you
That's
make
right.
mistakes. I think that's really
Yeah.
important, because children look up to us as parents. So and they will very much model their behaviours on things that we do. So on that basis, just show them that you don't take yourself too seriously, and
Yeah.
I'm sure that they'll be the same.
That's right.
So yeah. Okay, so we talked about sister to sister and how we basically like to encourage parents to be able to help their children, and we technically offer a support package to parents. Sister to Sister, we'll just recap for you, is a non-profit social enterprise. So everything that we do at Sister to Sister gets reinvested back into the community. So it's a community enterprise, it's a community organisation. And at Sister to Sister, we support young ethnic minority females between the ages of 13 to 21 to be the best version of themselves, using lots of different techniques, and some of the techniques that we've shared with you over the last 4 weeks as well. So do you want to tell them a little bit, Kanika, how we do that through our various programs?
Yeah, so we have got a few programs that you parents can choose from. So the first one I'll tell you about is our education empowerment program. And what this does, we run these sessions with girls, and we work on things like self-esteem, low confidence, helping them to aim higher. Friendship challenges seems to be quite a popular one as well. Helping them to have a voice and be heard. Even help them with career choices. So this all feeds in again, doesn't it, really, to that growth mindset. So we're preparing our girls to have this growth mindset by working on these things. We also have our Big Sister mentoring program as well.
Yeah.
And where we do very similar activities, but it's on a one-to-one basis. Yeah. So we do that twice a month with our girls to keep encouraging them and supporting them along the way. And again, working on self-esteem and confidence, friendship challenges, and friendship challenges, it might not seem like one that people would really recognise, really. But again, that feeds into self-esteem and confidence, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because a lot of issues that our young girls can have can stem from issues at school and issues with peers. And it's about building them up and helping them to have that resilience to go forward, so they don't develop difficulties later on in life.
Yeah, and I think it's also important to point out as well that you might look at your daughter and you think, oh, she's doing really well, she's confident, and that is fantastic, that is great. But that doesn't mean that sister to sister can't help them, because we can always help them push themselves that extra little bit more. We can help them with setting their goals for the things that they want to achieve.
That's right.
So it's not just necessarily about seeing your daughter looking as though she's lacking something, but actually your daughter could be doing really, really, really well, and we applaud you for that. But we can still help you, support you, and support her in being able to reach those next goals as well. So we'll give you our contact details at the end of the show, in terms of if you want to make any further inquiries in terms of how we can do that, and more information. But yeah, so that's it. So we've got the different programs, the sister to sister one, the Big Sister program, and also the empowerment programs that we do in the schools as well. So again, growth mindset is something that we teach the girls in the schools, and we give them time to go into groups and think about occasions that they might have whereby they've either been rejected. And that could be rejected from teams, rejected, from friendship groups, or they might be struggling with certain, subjects at school, and how does that make them feel? We talk about giving them, how they make them feel, and what you'll find from that is they'll talk a lot about, they'll show a lot of fixed mindset characteristics. So that might be that it makes them feel like, that they don't want to go on. It makes them feel like they can't do something. It makes them looking at their friends and thinking, well, why is she getting an 8 and I'm not getting reaching a level 8 and those kind of things. But then when that does happen, we like to encourage them about what solutions they can put in place. So, just thinking about that, Kanika, what kind of solutions do we share would, or what kind of solutions would you share with the girls if they were feeling like they were struggling with anything called rejection? So what kind of, kind of like growth mindset kind of solutions could they?
So the first thing I would do, I'm thinking more of, say, like my mentoring girls. We look at what the barriers might be to helping them achieve the goals that they want to set for themselves. So like the example you gave, their friends got a level 9. They've got a level 8, and they want to get my head around all of that.
You do, don't you?
I'm used to letters, not numbers. But if their friends got a higher grade than them, we look at how can you get there? What are your current barriers? How can we work with your barriers to get you to the goal that you want to achieve? And make them realistic as well, and also help that young person be accountable to themselves as well. So let's make a plan and let's stick to this plan and let's see how we go with that.
Yeah. And what else is out there that they need to do? So do they need to do anything additional? Do they need to go and get help from who else can help them along that way? Yeah. And as we said, there's so many we talked about being able to identify the triggers for a fixed mindset, and when a fixed mindset comes in, how you can flip it around into like a growth mindset statement.
Yeah.
So, for example, you might say, I can't do this. It's too hard. You could change that around to say, maybe I'm going to try harder, or I can't do it yet.
Yeah.
Because actually, you are going, you will be able to achieve, you will be able to do it. You just can't do it yet. No one likes me gets jobs like that. You can flip that around to say, I can do anything. I can get any job that I want to get. So can you see about identifying when the fixed mindset comes in, the fixed mindset characteristics, and how you have to talk to yourself for the growth mindset to come in? Can you think of any other ones that you might have?
People could turn around what they're saying. I suppose any negative thinking can be turned around, can't it, really? Or you could start to say, what would be the opposite of
Well, that's right,
how
isn't
would
it?
you want it to look?
Yeah, I think that's the trick, isn't it?
And start focusing on that instead.
Yeah, that is the trick.
And it goes back to what I was saying earlier on about, when we have that bias, that negative bias where we think about just the negative side of it, and we're not able to, so we home in on just the negative part. So if we start focusing more on the positive, what we want it to look like, that can help with growth as well. So rather than dwelling on what you can't do, think about what you can do and what can support you move even further towards your goal.
Yeah. No. There's some really, really key things there that, you can use as adults, you can use as children, it's all applicable. And the growth mindset it's a journey. And as I said before, we all have both mindsets. The fixed mindset and the growth mindset, and there's nothing wrong with that. You have to have both, and that's the kind of thing that we work with girls to get through. So as I said, we are coming to the end of our program. And it's been so much fun that, losing track of time. Yeah. But I will give you our details so that you can get in contact with us, because we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear from you as volunteers to help support us so that we can support girls. But also as well, as a non-profit company, we would also love to have donations as well so that we can keep what we're doing up and running. So if you're, if like us, you're really invested in seeing ethnic minority girls really being able to achieve all that they can do and realise their abilities, please do get in contact with us. Our telephone number is 0333 772 9234, and our email address is enquiry@sistertosister.org.uk. We're also on Instagram and Twitter. Instagram is @sistertosister.org1. So I'll just say that again. The easiest way to find us is on the webpage. So just can put that into the search engine. You'll find Sister to Sister, but you can email us, and that is enquiry@sistertosister.org.uk. Quite straightforward, really. So thank you all very much. I hope you have a lovely bank holiday doing whatever it is that you're doing, and remember, you're tuned into Ramadan Radio Wolves 87.9 FM.